It's when you listen to the official numbers given by our governments that you know you can't trust their measures. Because in Mexico, we don't trust in our authorities. We trust in God, but not in our authorities.
Locked away behind this gate is the biggest set of clandestine graves in Mexico, but criminal groups appear to have used this land.
Es un dolor que no tengo palabras para explicarles el dolor. Vi el tenis, un pedazo de calcetín de mi hija y su piel. Yo pensé que le habían cortado un pie. Y aún así, entregándoles a los asesinos, los dejan ir.
How is that possible? That doesn't make any sense. You voted for your authorities, right? Well, yeah. Kinda these people we vote for are selected by the same monarchy that was here 100 years ago and we don't even know. I could speak 1,000 hours about how Mexico's worst enemy is Mexico itself. I heard once that Queen Isabel was asked once about which country did she consider to be the world's most powerful nation. And according to this story, she said, Mexico. When she said that, everybody got surprised and they replied, but why? Like, how might that be? And she told them, well, Mexicans have been scavenged by everybody, by church, by Spanish, by American, by French, by everybody. And they're still standing with a head up straight. Considering everything that I've learned until now, I'm almost sure that she didn't probably actually say that. Just because of the fact that she's guilty of many abuses of the same golden standard in many other nations like mine. But it doesn't matter. The point is that we have listened to so many times that our neighbors from the north are chosen by a divine power to rule their progress. And that's why we think we are in a terrible disadvantage. And they like to keep us thinking stupid stuff like, if in Mexico a guy is killed because somebody assaulted him and he refused to give him the cell phone so he got killed, you're watching the news testimonies about how it's the victim's fault for refusing to give the phone away. And we keep blaming ourselves over and over and over again. Today I won't talk about numbers, but they aren't hidden. You can see them anywhere, anytime you want. And they are surprising enough being fake. And look, I'm not saying they're fake because I think they were falsified. I know they are fake because I'm Mexican. And I know that most crimes aren't reported. Because just as me, most people don't trust them. You think that the cops are somehow connected to criminals. Or even you might guess that they are running the violent show in your community. In which case you are probably right. And now we got the Mexican National Guard all over the place. And we realize that we have been living in a war zone since a while ago. But it's until you see this landscape that you realize that your freedom has never existed. And what they made you think that was a democrat nation is just a lie that is slowly but, I don't know, consistently slipping out of their hands like water. And hundreds, thousands of civilians are caught between the bullets of a war of power between Mexico's most powerful people.
A la madre, a la madre.
How is the civilian with no water, no food, no job, no nothing, isn't gonna worship narcos when they have helped their community more than any other institution?
Los presuntos delincuentes difundieron los agradecimientos de los pobladores.
Gracias, señor Mencho, por la ayuda que nos trajo en Tuxpan, Jalisco, y ojalá y nos sigan socorriendo para que nos vuelva a traer esta ayuda.
And how are people gonna get angry with a government that allows them to keep running their businesses? Those criminals are the only ones who worry about them. And how do we, as Mexicans with jobs, are going to be able to actually understand how important 3,000 Mexican pesos a month can be for one single family's survival? In case you were wondering, 3,000 Mexican pesos are like 150 American dollars. And marginalized Mexican are never gonna understand why our governments are always gonna try to keep them poor to continue manipulating their decisions, keeping them in the bottom. Because if they get out of the cave, they will start demanding more and more because they deserve it. Once we stop killing ourselves, that day something will have a change. But they don't want us to realize. They don't want us to talk about it. They're afraid of our knowledge. But even more important, we trust in God, in Virgin María de Guadalupe. We believe in our soccer teams like Chivas, Atlas, América. We trust in PRI, Morena, all the Mexican political parties. But we don't have faith in ourselves. We suck as a collective. And we don't even believe in our virtues, in our resistance. We don't even think that the person is honest. Because most of us aren't honest. We know the cops are corrupt because we know we are gonna give them some pesos if they catch us when we ignore a red light on the traffic. And then you tell them to do the fine, and you realize that they can't make one because they don't know how to do it. Because they don't know how to do it. Because they never actually report anything because they are corrupt. I mean, this country has broken the broken pieces of a society that were broken before it had been broken up. And I insist for us to find out that there was a truck found with 70 corpses is regular stuff. You just scroll down on Facebook and you keep building your own reality. While those with no voice can't find one slight breath. My godfather told me once something that I will never forget. He said, people in power are urged on disappearing the middle class. I thought like, why? Fuck. Why would he say that? So I replied, that doesn't make any sense. Middle class is the one who works their business. It represents the teachers, those creating new businesses. Those are the ones with great ideas. He answered me with this wonderful rhetoric he's always had. That's exactly the reason they don't want new businesses to be born. They don't want new ideas. Middle class is the one who faces the lowest class's problems. And at the same time, they can reach the higher class's tools to defend the lowest class's rights. They can be the lowest class's voice in the highest class's ears. To change their minds, to bring them aboard of projects for the future, because a society aware of its real situation is bad for those in power. I just said, when I started this video, that I had been considered malinchista for a long time. I thought it was. But now I know that I'm not. Maybe for a while, I was guilty as charged. But you know, it's never too late. I gotta accept I was malinchista to change shit. That Mexican proud inside of me refuses to accept my mistakes in the past. But I won't allow it. Now I like to consider myself a citizen of the world. Which it means that in my mind, I'm from Iran. I'm from India, I'm from Germany. It means that since like 6 years ago, I've been thinking that an Australian person is worth exactly the same as I do. Not more, not less. Which it means that I feel bad for the conflict between my brothers and sisters living in Ukraine and fighting with their Russian siblings. Both nations have spilled blood together. And now, fighting between them. And in the meanwhile, Uncle Sam is watching my brothers and sisters from Taiwan trying to free themselves from the China that refuses to allow them to progress the way that they'd like, because they believe they don't understand that my gringo brothers and sisters leaders want to do to them in the present what those same protectors of democracy did to Mexico 170 years ago, when Texas declared itself an independent nation to later be annexed to their mainland, along with half of what today easily could be called the United States of America. But it wasn't. Because they didn't see us as their equal. When they thought they were better than us. And they have repeated the same shit to us so many times that we have believed it. Until we got to this point where it seems like that's the way it is. But I believe it's not. And I mean, I love Ukraine. Ukraine is the living representation of what might happen to Mexico if one day one of our leaders starts finding in other parts of the planet what Gringo has conditioned us to. Like fuel, for example. Like earthquakes. Earthquakes, definitely. You want to hear me talking about earthquakes? Yeah, man. If you're talking about Mexico, you're going to be talking about earthquakes, brah. Man. Earthquakes here have something to do with the extraction of natural gas, but nobody here is talking about it. And I could focus this channel on talking to my country about what the fracking is, but they don't care. About which politicians keep allowing Mexican lands to be exploited by foreign interests. They don't want to think, they don't want to feel guilty, because they would blame themselves. We do blame ourselves, because we selected these bastards to represent us. But let me tell you something. They're gonna care when the world starts listening to how ridiculously stupid are the reasons why we live frightened. And as the world starts analyzing and judging our country, this embarrassment is gonna hurt the Mexican proud. I know. This is my bed. And this will be my church. I hope, and I want to invite the whole planet's nations, including mine, to do many projects like this, where we can use Uncle Sam's native language, as a global language, to understand this. I would like to watch one day from South Korea to the world, for us to understand from you, the ones who lead the fallout of your governments. They take decisions what's going on in your country, not from your authorities. We just know what gringo media tells us about Russia's reasons for attacking Ukraine. How a Russian civilian perspective may support Ukraine's invasion, I would like to listen to that from a Russian civilian. But, bad shit, I don't speak Russian. That's the point. There are many nations that I don't even know they exist. And many of you have voices to represent your people. You are the one facing the outcome. I want to know more about you.